Iran calls it an initial response. 85 US military facilities targeted in Bahrain and Kuwait, a Reaper drone shot down over southern Iran. America hasn't confirmed or denied any of it. This is the same ceasefire both sides signed 3 weeks ago. The Islamabad agreement is becoming the most violated document in the Middle East. Iran has claimed it launched a major retaliatory strike against US military positions across the Gulf after Washington carried out its largest wave of attacks on Iranian territory in weeks, marking another dangerous escalation in the confrontation between the two countries. Tehran says it targeted American bases in Bahrain and Kuwait and also shot down a US MQ-9 Reaper drone over southern Iran, claims that have not been independently verified. According to Tasnim news agency, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps spokesperson Hossein Mobi said Iran's air defense systems brought down a US MQ-9 drone after what he described as fresh American aerial aggression.
Following the air aggression carried out by the American military, the Revolutionary Guard's air defense system detected and shot down an MQ-9 drone over Hormozgan in Bushehr province.
In a separate statement carried by Iran's state broadcaster IRIB, and also reported by Al Jazeera, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said its Navy and Aerospace Force launched a coordinated missile and drone operation against 85 US military facilities, including the US 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain and Al-Salem Air Base in Kuwait.
In an initial response to this aggression, the IRGC Navy and Aerospace Force carried out a joint missile and drone operation, striking 85 key U.S. military facilities in the two countries, while also shooting down an MQ-9 drone.
The IRGC described the operation as an initial response to what it called a U.S. violation of the ceasefire and the Islamabad agreement, accusing Washington of attacking military and civilian sites in Hormozgan and Mashhad, while funeral ceremonies for former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei were underway. The United States has not yet acknowledged Iran's claims of strikes on its bases or the reported downing of an MQ-9 drone. The United States has launched a new wave of military strikes on Iran, dramatically escalating tensions in the Gulf, just a day after multiple commercial vessels were attacked while transiting the Strait of Hormuz. In an ex-post, US Central Command said American forces carried out precision strikes on more than 80 targets across southern Iran, describing the operation as an immediate response to Iran's latest attacks on international shipping.
U.S. Central Command forces completed a new round of offensive strikes against Iran, July 7th hitting over 80 targets with precision munitions as an immediate response to Iran's latest attacks on commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz.
According to CENTCOM, the operation targeted Iranian air defense systems, command and control networks, coastal surveillance radars, surface-to-air missile batteries, anti-ship cruise missiles, drone launch sites, and more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats operating in and around the Strait of Hormuz.
U.S. forces struck Iranian air defense systems, command and control networks, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps small boats in and near the strait to degrade Iran's ability to continue attacking international commerce flowing through the international trade corridor.
Iranian state and semi-official media confirmed the US strikes, reporting a series of explosions across southern Iran. Reports said at least 6 projectiles struck the Tahrawi fishing pier in Sirik, while explosions were also heard in Keshem Island and Bandar Abbas. Fars news agency, citing port officials, reported that enemy projectiles hit a fishing pier, setting several civilian fishing boats ablaze. Iran's military swiftly condemned the strikes. Khatam al-Anbiya, central headquarters, Iran's top joint military command, says armed forces will give a crushing response to US attacks.
We strongly condemn the U.S. strikes in southern Iran. The U.S. military targeting places during the funeral procession of the former Supreme Leader's body in Iraq is a blatant act of aggression. Iranian armed forces would deliver a crushing response.
The IRGC's Khatam al-Anbiya central headquarters also warned that Tehran would not tolerate foreign interference in the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran will not allow any outside interference in the management of the Strait of Hormuz. It is reiterated that the only safe passage for commercial ships and oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz is the route designated by the Islamic Republic of Iran.
At the same time, Iran's foreign ministry also warned that commercial ships using routes not coordinated with Tehran or tampering with tracking systems would face increased risks in the waterway. Meanwhile, senior Iranian officials struck a defiant tone. Supreme Leader Advisor Mohsen Reza declared that if Trump intends to attack again, we are fully prepared. Parliament Speaker and Chief Negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf wrote on X that repeated US actions, including renewed sanctions and what he called violations of Hormuz arrangements, undermine the recently signed Memorandum of Understanding.
Major MOU violations by the US, violating Iranian adjustments in the Strait, persistent threats of further strikes, reinstating oil sanctions, attacks on southern Iran, continued Zionist aggression in Lebanon. The era of bullying and extortion is over. It leads nowhere. We don't fold.
The regional fallout continued to widen, with Kuwait reporting air defense systems engaging hostile missiles and drones, sirens sounding in Bahrain, and power outages reported across parts of Kuwait, raising fears that the latest escalation could trigger a broader regional conflict. Fresh concerns are mounting over security in the Strait of Hormuz, after reports emerged that Iran's Revolutionary Guards targeted commercial shipping, raising fears of renewed disruption along one of the world's most critical energy routes. According to Axios, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fired at least 2 missiles at commercial vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz on the night of July 6th. The Axios report said 2 commercial ships sustained significant damage, although no casualties were reported. Separately, Britain's United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations confirmed that a tanker travelling about 15 kilometres east of Limar, Oman, was struck on its port side by an unknown projectile in the early hours of July 7th, triggering a fire. According to the Wall Street Journal, the vessel attacked may have been Al-Rekayat, a liquefied natural gas tanker owned and managed by Nakilat, also known as Qatar Gas Transport Company, one of the world's largest LNG shipping operators. The newspaper also reported that before the attack, Iran's Revolutionary Guards had issued direct radio warnings to commercial vessels navigating the strait. The reported incidents come despite a 60-day ceasefire and ongoing diplomatic efforts following the conflict triggered by the US-Israeli strikes on Iran. Indirect negotiations between Washington and Tehran ended last week without any publicly announced breakthrough. Speaking on July 6th, US President Donald Trump renewed pressure on Tehran, warning that Washington would either reach a deal with Iran or resort to military action.
Our great Navy, which did the greatest blockade anyone's ever seen, not one ship got through in 2 months. And we then freed up the blockade because we're close to maybe making a deal. I don't know. We'll make either. Look, we're going to win one way or the other. We're either going to make a deal or we're going to finish the job, okay? And it won't be tough to finish the job. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to affect 91 million people. We can knock down their bridges in 1 hour. We can knock out their energy supply, all of those big plants that they built, big, beautiful, modern plants. They had a lot of money. They don't have any money now. We haven't given them any money. But we can knock out their electricity and power generating plants in, I would say, a small part of an afternoon. Every plant will be gone. And they know that. They know that.
Meanwhile, Mohammad Bagher Zolgadeh, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, accused the US president of threatening the Iranian people and warned Tehran would respond if such rhetoric continued.
To the delusional president of America who today threatened 91 million Iranians, I say, the only result for you was defeat, helplessness, and desperate pleas for negotiations and a ceasefire. Iranians are not familiar with the language of threats. Speak to the Iranian people with respect. Otherwise, we will respond to you in a different language.
With around 20% of the world's oil consumption passing through the Strait of Hormuz, the reported attacks, escalating rhetoric, and stalled diplomacy have once again raised concerns over the security of global energy supplies and the risk of a broader regional confrontation.